You asking for those?
Okay, it's 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, October 10th. We're going to call this meeting to order. Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas is being held today, Thursday, October 10th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. at Sandy Oaks City Hall, located at 4451 Hickory Haven, Sandy Oaks, Texas, 78112, for the purpose of considering the following agenda items. All agenda items are subject to action. Ms. Shelton, can we get a quorum call, please?
Alderman Tremblay.
Here.
Alderman Rapino.
Here.
Alderman Walker.
Here.
Alderman Tomasini.
Here.
Alderman Garcia is absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Stand for Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3 on the agenda, citizens to be heard. Please note that the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the City Council from responding, commenting, or discussing items or topics during this portion of the meeting that are not included on the agenda. The City Council appreciates hearing from our residents, and your thoughts and questions are valued. However, civility and a sense of decorum will be strictly followed. All speakers must address their comments to the City Council. Speakers shall refrain from public criticism of members of the City Council that are prohibited by law. This item will be open for up to 30 minutes with 3 minutes to each speaker. One person may speak on behalf of a group. Up to 3 persons may register on behalf of the group in order for the spokesperson to be allotted up to 9 minutes to speak. If there are more than 10 speakers, each will be given 2 minutes. We have one person signed up for general comment. That would be Dawn Allison.
Well, this is probably just me being picky, but I love Sandy Oaks. I love the Stone Island when we come into Sandy Oaks on Waterwood Pass. I do not like the word Sandy Oaks painted that horrible brownish gray color. It's the same color as the stone. You can't see it. It does not stand out. I would prefer that it be painted bright red or oak green. David would prefer that it be painted gloss black. But it needs to be, I don't care if it's light blue, as long as it's not the same color as the rocks. I want anyone who drives in to see Sandy Oaks and know that the residents here are proud of where they live, and they're doing their best to make this as pretty a place as is possible in South Texas. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 4, financial and budget report. The income and expenses will be reported by City Clerk Catherine Yelton, and possible discussion.
So the beginning balance as of September 1st, 2019 was $436,788.87. We had checks and payments of $115,670.60, debits and credits of $14,310.31. We did still have a couple of outstanding transactions of $1,125. So we had a registered balance as of September 30th, 2019 of $334,203.58. And then you'll see after the first, I did 2 transactions on the, or after the 30th, I did 2 transactions on the first, which show new transactions. So that's why you see the 800. But the actual balance as of the 30th, 334, 230.58.
When do we get our next CPS franchise deposit?
I think November.
Oh, in November?
I think
Okay.
so. I think we got one in August.
Okay. Are there any questions? Okay, item 5, consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed and the consent agenda will be considered separately. We are going to pull item A as those minutes are not ready at this time. So that will leave items B and C. Oh, item B, sorry. Approved July 2019 invoice number 1217 from Cassana and Ortiz not to exceed $4,110. And item C, approve a resolution authorizing the city clerk to prepare and submit an annual eminent domain authority report.
Move to approve consent agenda items B and C.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Tremblay to approve consent items B and C and a second by Alderman Rapino. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Item 6, discuss and or possible action on responses to requests for qualifications for audit services. We brought this back from, Catherine, do you have a blue pen? Blue? We brought this back from the previous meeting because the presentation was not complete for one of the submissions. So everyone should have received the additional documentation in addition to some additional information that they shared with us on pricing.
It's in draft format.
Oh, is it?
I'll get one printed.
Thank you.
Before you leave. Thank you. I'll take my pen back too. Thank you.
So if you remember, we had Ms. Frazier here from Armstrong, Vaughn and Associates last time, and we did, not everyone on the council had this packet, which was their actual qualifications. All they had was the pricing. I know that we had a total of 3 submissions. Armstrong and Vaughn, in doing some checking with some of our peers around Bexar County, speak very highly of them. They are, of the 3, the only one that was local. The others are over 100 miles away in little towns. I wasn't quite sure where they were located.
Tom Bean,
Tom Bean was one of them.
wherever
yes.
that is.
And Nippa.
Bean.
Yeah. Yeah. Like west.
The way to that.
Yeah. So the additional information that they gave us from Vaughn, Armstrong, Vaughn and Associates had to do with if we chose to do the 2 audits.
And once again, these are, they're basing this on estimates, I guess either hourly rates. I questioned that when she was here last week, so if not that much time is spent, because we do have a checklist from the past audits. I think doing are we doing quarterly checks with
With our internal
our
auditor?
internal
Monthly.
auditor? So
Doing
we're doing
monthly.
monthly, so things should be, the book should be in line with what's required for the audit. And now that we have Mr. Fox here as well, we should be having our ducks in order,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. So yeah, and I agree, I've looked at their references and they have a pretty extensive list of references.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
I checked on it, I called her.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'd feel comfortable with
With who?
the city going with the ADA.
Sorry?
They're a lot more expensive than the other one, though.
Right, they are, and that's why I'm bringing it up, the fact that they do have their hourly rates listed there. So in the event that their hours don't accumulate to a number that meets the $8,000 threshold, we have all of our numbers. We have a checklist. I sat in on the last 2 audits, so I know that we've done pretty well, and Catherine's done a very good job keeping the records. So I don't think that, and that's, if you remember, I brought that up as a question to, what was her first name?
Which one? Oh, Deborah?
Deborah, yeah, I brought that up to her and questioned that in the event that their hours don't add up to that amount, are we locked into this 8,000,
Right.
to that amount?
Yeah, but the hourly rate is, hourly rate is more expensive also, though.
No, but I mean, if you base it, if you look at the breakdown, how many hours they plan on spending, if you go into the packet, don't look at just that one email, look at the packet. The packet has a breakdown of their
Right. How much time?
how much
they're
time
gonna-
each person in their firm, based on their experience, is going to spend on the audit.
And also, in the original packet, that total price that they had in here is still significantly less than what we paid the last audit. And the last audit was a 20% increase over the previous year.
Right, so if we keep going with the one that we've been utilizing,
Yeah, we can't
we're probably
afford it.
looking at a 20% increase each year. And if you deal with CPAs at all, CPA will tell you, you've got to increase your cost, your expenses.
Right.
Every year you increase them. So we'll probably be looking at, if you stay with this one and you go with the 2-year price that they're giving us, 2 years from now, you'll probably be putting this out again, looking for a better deal, because they're not going to do it for $7,000 3 years from now, I
Yeah.
guarantee you.
And isn't that the intention, to put it out there every few years anyways?
I think as good practice, you should probably put it out at least every 5 years. Is that right, Lou?
At least.
At least, yeah.
Well, I think based on the cost, if you
Well,
see costs going up.
Exactly.
You put it out there, I mean,
You can redo it.
right.
Yeah, but Abbott is going to charge us $65 an hour and $100 an hour. And the other company is going to be charging $205, $150, and $100 an hour.
Is Abbott charging travel?
I don't know, doesn't say.
Well, they showed standard rate at 195.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah, travel and lodging, $570.
Right,
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm
we
saying.
need to try and stay local. And if you look at Abbott's, they're at 8810 for 18, and again 8810. They're charging 8,000 each, 88, almost 9,000 each year.
Well, I know, but even with the charging for travel and lodging, they're cheaper than the other one.
Well, you know that if they come in to do the audit and they decide they need to stay an additional day, then we're going to eat
Right.
the cost. The city's going to eat the cost.
And that's what I was gonna ask, is that 8,000 and 7,000 a ceiling that they won't go over? Or will they, if they go over their hourly total and it comes to more than 8,000 and 7,000, are we gonna be then responsible to pay the addition?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
No.
you've got the bid there, and then they're breaking it down in hours, and so I'm sure they've adjusted their hours, because if you, on their first submitting, they had 9825, and that, if you look at the breakdown on hours, so they had 15 hours for their partners, another 25 for managers, and 30 hours on their staff. And I think they're looking at spending less hours. if they're now dropping the cost to 8,000. And then gonna go for 7,000 on the 19, because then they will have compiled all their data for what they need for the next audit, which is basically what we've done with the present auditor,
Right.
is that we have the checklist, we know what's required by law, we know what's needed, what they're gonna ask for. So I would feel comfortable that they wouldn't exceed that $8,000 cost. I would think it would be less.
And we had a similar bid from, who was the other guy?
EDE.
Buyer.
Oh,
They did the same
Buyer.
thing. They put it was capped at that amount, and that's what they billed us for.
Right.
We didn't get a breakdown of the time, how many hours they did on everything. So we can do a couple of things with this. With any time that we're trying to select professional services, we can make a motion to bring one of them up for consideration. It doesn't mean that that's the one that will get the bid. And if that one doesn't pass, we move on to the next one. So if somebody would like to make a motion on who they'd like to select for this, and then we can take votes on that. You want to start?
I can.
I mean, I would like to go with the cheaper one if they're, I know it's only $1,000, but $1,000 is $1,000.
And that one's a 1 year. The cheapest one is,
Yeah.
That was just for 1 year?
Yeah.
that's for Edie.
I'm not sure what's the name of it. It's Rod Abbott. I'm not
Seems
sure.
like they all have the same credentials, I mean, as far as the quality of the audit would go.
just Abbott.
Yeah.
The only discriminating factor that I see is that one of them is in close proximity, being in Universal City. So, I don't know if that, is big enough to swing it to the more expensive one, but I'm comfortable with all of them because they all have the credentials. So,
Well, somebody start. Let's make a motion.
Well, if nobody else wants to, then I'll make a motion in that we accept Rod L. Abbott to do our audit.
And he's the one out of NIPA, is that
No,
right?
Tom Bean, wherever that.
Where is Tom Bean?
I have no idea.
It's towards Fort Worth.
I don't,
that's
Yeah, I
a
want
long
somebody.
way.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion by Alderman Tomasini to select Abbott as the auditor. Do we have a second? Okay, I guess if we don't get a second, that one's out. So we'll move on to the next one. Who'd like to make a motion?
That's,
Okay.
Come on, David.
I make
He's
a
a
motion
PT.
that we accept Armstrong and Vaughn.
which one's that?
Okay,
I'll
we
second
have,
that.
what?
right faster.
We have
Oh,
a
there
motion
we
by
go.
Alderman Walker and a second by Alderman Tremblay to select Armstrong, Vaughn and Associates for the city auditor. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? And there you go, folks. That's how it's done. That motion carries.
Did you say aye? Oh, okay.
We gotta do it.
Yeah, I just didn't hear it. So.
Would you mind making a call to Deborah and let her know? Call her tomorrow and let her know? Thank you. Okay, item 6B, discuss and/or possible action on creating a census committee and census committee nominations and appointments. So at our last meeting, we mentioned that at this particular meeting, we would be accepting nominations for people to be on the committee. I think we need at least 5 people to be on the committee. It's just always a good number to work with, especially when you're talking quorums. Does anyone on the council have any nominations they'd like to make for those positions?
We have no volunteers.
I have not heard of any volunteers, so I will ask those
Would
in
you-
attendance.
Would you just explain what the responsibilities are for the individuals sitting on that committee?
I don't have that packet in front of me. It has to do with, they'll go to training to, it's really, they're not out doing the census. They are they're sharing the information. They're making sure that word is out there, answering questions for people, helping them understand what's going to be on the census and what's not. They're doing things a little bit differently this time. I think there is an online aspect to the census this year. But each community is being asked to step up, put a committee together to make sure that the community is aware that this is coming, and there's some training that needs to be done by November 30th for the committee members.
Will any data that is gathered from this census be basis for any grants that we would apply for?
No, this is
Okay.
not an economic census. This is the national census.
Is the training online or is it?
Richard would have to explain, I don't know if it's online. I think they're doing some sessions here locally at one of the colleges.
You had an invitation, but it was for tonight.
Oh.
Some sort of I just got it in the mail. Let me get it again, sorry.
I know he sent me something, here it is right here. That's a great opportunity.
There's a census office, oh, this
Here we
is
go.
just their grand opening for a census office. Never mind.
So it says National Census Recruiting Week will take place October 20th through the 27th. That's for hiring people. So they're hiring people to help with doing census taking. That's something different.
They pay good. They pay pretty good too, usually.
I don't know. I know that
'Cause I
Mr.
did-
Crickmer has done that in the past.
So have I, a long
Yeah.
time ago. Yeah, they pay pretty good.
I'll be on the committee.
Okay. You be the committee chair?
I don't want to be the chair because I don't know if I'll be,
Oh, well, that's true too.
yeah,
But you could serve regardless.
I could.
Is there anybody that's here in the audience that would like to participate on the committee? Okay.
Who said that?
Crickmer.
Is there a deadline for having this in place?
Yeah, we need to get going as quickly as possible because we have to start coordinating with Richard and his team for getting the training scheduled and making sure everybody's on.
How many people do we need on the committee?
I'd like to have at least 5. I mean, if we could get 3, that'd be great. But if we can get 5, that'd be even better.
I'll do it because I'm not running for.
Okay? So we'll put D. Thomasini down. So that's 3. I mean, we could do that.
Mr.
Madam
Fillinger?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
do we have any kind of schedule for training?
I have not got the schedule for training yet. I know it's supposed to happen by November 30th. So I'll get all the final details.
Sure.
Is that a yes, you're on?
Yes.
Thank you. So that's 4. Is that Ann peeking around? Thank you.
Everybody's on the work.
Okay, we have 5. That's a wrap, folks.
Like the
So-
Parks Committee almost.
Almost. So what we have is Tom Rapino, John Crickmer, Doug Thomasini, Charles Fillinger, and Ann Garza, who have agreed to be on the Census Committee. Thank you all. Okay, item 6C, Alderman Rapino's investment report, discuss and possible action.
Did you need a motion on that or anything? No.
I don't know. Do we need to have a motion on the committee, accepting the committee members?
I think that would be appropriate.
Probably be appropriate. So would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept those members of the community that have volunteered to be on the census committee.
Okay. We have a motion by Alderman Rapino to accept the nominations as presented. Do we have a second?
I second.
Alderman Walker seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Okay, now we'll move on to item 6C, which is Alderman Rapino's investment report, discussion, and possible action.
Okay, this is the quarterly investment report, and we've had our reserve funds invested in the tax pool for a little over a quarter, 3 days over a quarter. And we have earned $711.91, which is pretty good. If it follows through and we make that much every quarter, it's not a bad return. Far more than you'd get in a bank account.
For sure.
So we need a motion to accept the investment report.
We have in the past.
Have we in the past?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll move that we accept the investment report for the fourth quarter of 2019.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Rapino and a second by Alderman Walker to accept the investment report as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. Item 7A, this is under Public Works and Animal Control. Discuss and or possible action on a storage building for the Animal Control Department and related cost. So I put this on the agenda at the request of Alderman Tremblay. So I'll let you run with this one if you don't mind.
Okay, what it's come down to is if you look around, you can see things have been moved around here in this building. Basically running out of space. Animal control, all of their supplies and such have been being stockpiled here in this building. It's just, it had to move out somewhere. There's no space for it out in the Connex. The little storage area down here between the bathrooms is really not adequate as well. Typically, I mean, basically what would be good, more feasible would be to have a building to have a building or storage facility there at the FSP, the Farmer's House property where the animal control facility is located. So I did go out and look at some buildings, portable buildings, and for the animal control facility, looked at it's a metal building with a floor, and we can go as small as an 8x12 for just under $1,600, or we go just a little larger and go to a 10x12 for just under $1,900, and that'd give them plenty of space, 10 feet by 12 feet. That would be in an 8-foot wide building. They'll use 2x4 floor joist. If we go to a 10-foot wide building, they'll use 2x6s. It'd be a much sturdier building for $300 difference. They do have 5/8 decking for the floors. They're all wind and watertight. It would probably be a good idea to just put some kind of lockers in there to put animal food products. But all of the blankets and all that stuff is all, right now it's out in the Connex out here. And again, it would just be better served if it was up at the facility up there. So I do have, I don't know if everybody's got pictures. So it's actually, this is the, if you look at, there's one there that says best value metal. You have that one?
Yeah.
So, again, if we go with the 10 by 12, it would have 2 doors rather than 1 door. Again, 2x6 decking for our floor joist. And they do have locks on the doors, they're keyed locks, so we may have to modify that to make them more, maybe, a little more secure. They do come with tie-down straps for hurricane tie-down for high winds. If we can get it placed on the slab up there and get it secured there, Mickey was saying they could shoot
They can drill
into the concrete to tie them down.
They can use a
And this
22.
is delivered
inch.
price. This company is located over by
The TJ Maxx
TJ
distribution.
Maxx, it's right there, so
And this includes delivery?
it's delivered price, yeah. So we do have your choice of colors, and I'll leave the color booklet here. So you can choose, there's all different.
I know that there are, I think, 2 slabs up there now that are not being used. Have they been measured to see if they would accommodate this?
They have not, I know they're pretty large.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So yeah, there's just all kinds of different color schemes you can go with, so I'll leave that to the animal control officer.
And
Yes, but-
so we also have a washer and dryer that had been donated.
And so we'd probably need to go with the 10 by 12 then,
Well,
and get it closer to the facility itself where the drain. I don't know
well,
if
it's
they
just
use
something
that
we would
drain.
need to consider with the engineering as they're finalizing the designs for water and electric out there.
Right.
Okay, and this, Marshall has a question.
Obviously, this building is insulated, so we...
No, none of these buildings are insulated. We'd have to insulate them, and we could do the, batted insulation or spray
Yeah, there's a
spray in as a foam insulation, but no, they're not insulated.
Okay.
I have a building that's 8 by 10 that I insulated from my dogs.
Worked pretty well.
Yeah, it works pretty well, but it wasn't blown in.
But again, this building is just storage, so we're not talking about using this for an office or anything, so, yeah. So that would be for the animal control, and I would, recommend going with the 8 by 12 on the best value metal building. And I have a price sheet here. I don't know if I can pass a few of these around.
The 8 by 12 or the 10 by 12?
The 10 by 12,
Here,
yeah.
send this. Here. Can you send that down that way? Here's another. Sure. Down there. So if you look at the Durskin, best value metal,
Right here.
and a 10 by 12 is $18.95.
Yeah, he's got it.
It's blue. 8 by 12,
Arrow goes
18.95.
right
Oh,
here
that's
to
it.
this one. Which is what this looks like. That's the 8 by 10. This is the 8 by 12. So the 8 by 12 is this one. This is the, I'm sorry, that's the 10 by 12.
I'm sorry,
We're confused.
here's, I'm sorry, it's an additional sheet. I didn't Xerox this one.
Oh,
I'll pass this
okay.
one down. I actually had marked the 8 by 12 because that's initially what I was thinking, but after speaking with Chris, we thought the 10 by 12 would be better.
Okay.
So that's it. It'd be
The one
the
that's in
Durskin,
That's on that farm.
and there's a picture on the bottom there in a 10 by 12.
8 by 12. Oh, 10 by 12.
So we'll go with the
right
10
here.
by 12 for $18.95.
Got it, okay.
18.95 or 85?
$18.95.
1895.
95, this would come out of
I had
animal
written-
control.
I wrote 85 on yours.
That's metal, correct?
No. No. That's what we paid for the balance.
And that's still with delivery and everything?
That's delivered and set up, right?
Pass that down. Or you need this back.
Because even if it doesn't fit on the slab, I'm pretty sure they'll put it on blocks.
They'll put it on blocks. I think for, If it was me, I'd prefer put it on concrete if you got the concrete available.
Exactly.
Well, we can
especially
go
when
out and
you
look at the
tied
site.
up.
You can look at the site, Chris, me, you
Yeah.
go to the site and see where you want to put it. So that's a motion I'd make is to go with the Durskin 10 by 12 metal best value
I'll second.
for a cost not to exceed, let's just say $1,900.
Okay, I'll second again.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second from Alderman Rupino to go with the 10 by 12 Durskin, not to exceed $1,900. Is there any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
We can pay it off at $70 a month.
For 60 years. Can I get that booklet back, the one with
All
all the
this?
prices, so I can, just to,
Okay, item 7B, discussing or possible action on a portable office for the Public Works Department and the related cost.
okay.
And again, this was from Alderman Tremblay. And
Okay.
let me kind of preface that, I want to tag on to what you said earlier. We have very quickly outgrown this facility. I'm afraid in the next couple of meetings, we won't be able to, something else is going to have to go. We still have a deputy to bring on board. We still have court that we're holding here. We have a holding cell that's being put in place. So we have to make arrangements to expand, and that has been the purpose all along of the property that we lovingly refer to as the FSP for former Saul's property. So the animal control facility, the unit is there. It's not in place yet. We're waiting on some engineering work for water and electric. The plan is to certainly have that open and functional before the end of this calendar year. And it certainly makes sense to have an office and storage facility set up there as well, since that's where the operation is going to be. It's not that we don't like Chris here. We like Chris. We like Chris just fine. We just need Chris to scoot over. So I'll let you take over.
Okay, so this is, again, outgrowing space. For anyone who's been into the maintenance yard, if you look in there, there's a carport, and there's an actual building that's got 3 sides on it. And we did look into possibly finishing off that building, adding a wall, closing in the ceiling, framing it out, sheetrock, tape float, do the 9 yards. That in itself would have ran anywhere between $7,000 to $9,000, and that would not include the roof. We don't know what the roof is like, if it leaks or what have you. Wouldn't include. I don't think there's no windows there. There is a door on there, but it's really not a very good option. So looking at these again, I think everybody has a picture of a side lofted barn. Looking at that photo there, it has 2 windows in it, and these are all built with 2x4 studs in the walls, so it's very easy to insulate if you want to do the spray and foam or you want to do the batted insulation. So this building here could be insulated, used as an office, and this would be again for the public works guys. So you want to put 2 individuals could be sitting in that building, whether it's preparing for their work day, getting their assignments, doing any kind of research. So looking at the sizes on this building, the smallest being 8 by 12 would be pretty cooped to put a couple of people in. Next option I thought would be, again, going with 10 by 12, maybe even 10 by 16. And this could go right in line with where that building is in there right now. The one wall that is there under the carport, that wall could come out on that building, and it could be used to house the lawnmower and some of the other equipment. So I guess the decision would be on what size building we would use. There is electricity out there in the maintenance yard, so as far as getting electric into it, it's not going to be a very expensive tasking.
Who provided this one too? Was that also?
That one actually is on site there, and I think they wanted to move that one out. It's only an 8x12. It's kind of small, and it's all wood. That is a wooden one, and it's $2,600, a little over $2,600. It was, I mean, it's a nice looking little building. I just don't think it's large enough. So basically, I mean, that's what that is. It's that's a side lofted barn, so it would just be, and we go with a metal. Again, it can be insulated and utilized. It's the window, put a window unit in the front there.
Would he be keeping his computer and stuff like that out there?
He could, sure, yeah. Again, and you want to insulate it. I mean, it's
Well, no,
insulated. I mean, it's physically, it'd be an office.
Yeah.
In time, could this be moved to FSP?
Yeah, it's portable building,
Yeah,
sure,
so it can be
yeah.
moved.
And do you think it's secure enough for him to keep all of this stuff in there? And
It can be made secure, sure. I don't see why it couldn't. And if it's a matter of security for a computer, if you're going it could use a laptop, and the laptop could come in and out.
Come here, yeah.
You know.
well, I mean, he might have city records and stuff out there too. I mean, the only thing,
Again, when the computer system is all done here, I believe we're supposed to have a server. So everything he does should be kept on the server. He's not necessarily keeping anything on a hard drive on a computer. It's going onto a server.
because we don't, the only thing I'm worried about is, here we have cameras, and all that stuff,
Right.
but we don't have that out there. That's
And
what
it
I'm
would,
concerned.
for security,
We
you
could get
wouldn't
them.
leave it out there then.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it'd be an issue. I think these phones can be used as hotspots. So, if he's got to do something on it, he can surely use his phone for internet if he needs to do something, or use it as a hotspot.
Right.
But I would, if we're looking at the cost, I mean, it is only, it's $800-900 difference to going from an 8x12 to a 10x16. I think a 10x16 would be enough space for 2 individuals and a couple of workstations.
So this one here that you're proposing though, that's the 8x10?
That's, I mean, it doesn't really, that one is, that's probably, it's just a photo. I mean, it's, but that one, yeah, for the 2135, that's an 8x12,
That's an 8x12.
right? So here's the price sheet,
Okay.
10x16,
And so what size are you proposing?
10x16,
A 10x16.
10x16 is $3,045.
Will it fit underneath the carport that we had there?
The carport is going to be used for cars. It'll fit. Have you been in there recently?
Yeah.
We had the dumpster moved.
Yeah.
Right. So where the dumpster was going straight in, it would go there. So and where the dumpster was, there's actually concrete on the ground.
Yeah.
That's actually adequate parking space for, we've got the 2 other vehicles coming from Bear County. You've got, the Marshall's got 2, and the pickup that we have still. So that was the whole idea, cleaning that area out for parking. But this building could go right up against the fence there. And again, the electricity is right there. So that would be my motion. It would be to go with the side lofted metal barn in 10x16.
I was just doing some quick calculations on this. An 8x12 is 96 square feet, which is pretty small.
Right.
And at 2135, that's about $22 a square foot. If you went by the 10x16, it's 160 square feet, and that's about $19 a square foot. So it's cheaper if you look at it that way.
And again, you can choose your colors. I'll leave you the magazine here and the booklet, the catalog, and you go forward and make purchases.
One of the things I like about this is they are portable. They can be repurposed in the future for some other, depending on how things go. So it's not like it's being bought and it's a fixed, non-movable, dedicated. It's flexible.
It's not bricks and mortar.
Exactly. And it'll serve our purpose, and it's relatively inexpensive to do so.
I'll second his motion.
Oh, did you make a motion?
I think so.
You did.
Right, the motion was to go with a 10 by 16 side lofted barn for a cost not to exceed, we'll say $3,100.
3,100. Okay. So we have a motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by Alderman Rapino to purchase the 10 by 16 side lofted barn with a price not to exceed $3,100. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Opposed? The motion carries. And one last bit of business. We are adjourning at 7:16 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, what's that? Bada bing.
They ought to all be.
Catherine, if you can get me the real version instead of the draft.
This is yours too. I don't know if you want to keep it just to know where their office is.
I hope you get with them. I'm not coming near you because I don't want to take it home.
I told you.